Every hyperpower in history has faced a difficulty that, for lack of a better term, I will call the problem of glue. By this I mean the problem of finding ways to generate goodwill, cooperation, and ideally loyalty among the foreign peoples that are conquered and dominated. History's first hyperpower never solved this problem. As the Achaemenid Persian Empire expanded, it came to include increasingly diverse peoples. Yet the empire had no overarching political identity or glue to unite it. Only sheer military might held it together. So under Persian rule, Greeks and Egyptians certainly didn't see themselves as Persians. They hated the Persians or feel any loyalty to the empire. As a result, less than a century after its founding, the empire was riven by fragmentation and separatist rebellions. When a stronger, more charismatic military leader, Alexander of Macedon, swept through the region, elites throughout the empire simply switched their allegiances. They were not traitors because they'd never been patriots. A similar fate befell the Mongols. With no common identity to bind together its European, Middle Eastern, and Asian conquered peoples, who frankly were disgusted by their barbarian overlords, the Mongol world empire quickly splintered into 4 large kingdoms before breaking up altogether. Of all of history's hyperpowers, only Rome really solved this problem of glue. Great Britain came close, but only Rome really solved it, which I think goes a long way towards explaining its spectacular longevity. Now, it's very popular these days to compare the United States to Rome, and it's a great comparison in many ways. But ancient Rome had one huge advantage over the United States, and that is that Rome could make the people it conquered and dominated part of the Roman Empire. Defeated people from Scotland to Spain to West Africa all became subjects of the greatest power on earth. Even more significantly, Rome turned large numbers of conquered men, both elites and common soldiers, into Roman citizens, clothed with the high status and privileges that such citizenship entailed. So by extending citizenship to Britons, Gauls, Spaniards, and Africans alike, Rome managed to Romanize vastly disparate peoples living continents apart, creating a common political identity, generating loyalty among its far-flung subjects. The United States today can do no such thing. Because it's a democracy, the United States does not try or want to make foreign populations its subjects, and certainly not its citizens. So when the US government speaks of bringing democracy to the Middle East, it is not contemplating the people of Iraq and Afghanistan voting in the next US presidential elections. And this has been America's dilemma as a hyperpower. That is, America does not only dominate Americans. Even today, through its enormous economic leverage and its multinationals and its military bases in 60 countries, the United States projects its power into every corner of the world, from Bolivia to Indonesia to Kuwait. But outside its borders, there is no political glue binding the United States to the billions of people who live under its shadow. After September 11th, as I'm sure you remember, many influential voices, both conservative and liberal, began calling for an American empire, sometimes also called nation building, in both cases referring to the aggressive interventionist use of American military force, with or without international approval, to effect regime change. That is, to replace dictatorships, rogue states, and other threatening regimes with pro-market, pro-democracy, pro-American governments. This position, which again, even liberals like Thomas Friedman embraced, was in many ways completely understandable, given the threats of terrorism and the seeming invincibility of the American military. But the great mistake made by these champions of American militarism lies in assuming that the spread of markets, democracy, and American brands and consumer culture would be enough to Americanize the nations of the world, creating common values and even a desire for American leadership. This assumption was as naive as the belief that liberated Iraqis were going to greet American troops with sweets and flowers. Wearing a Yankee baseball cap and drinking Coca-Cola does not turn a Palestinian into an American. Today, even with our own economy reeling, the United States still faces billions of people around the world, most of them poor, who want to be like Americans but don't want to be under America's thumb, who want to dress and live like Americans but who are denied visas by the U.S. Embassy, who are told over and over that America stands for freedom but see only the pursuit of American self-interest.